It was a rainy Tuesday evening when I stood in the doorway of what used to be our home, watching my soon-to-be ex-husband's face drain of all color as he realized every cent in his accounts was frozen. His pregnant mistress clung to his arm, her belly swollen with the child that should have been ours, her eyes wide with confusion and fear. "What have you done?" he stammered, but I just smiled, the kind of smile that comes from the deepest well of betrayal turned into unbreakable resolve. Little did he know, this was only the beginning of the end. Or was it? Hold on, because what happened next would change everything, and not just for me. Let me take you back to where it all started, because every story like this has roots that run deep, tangled in love and lies. My name is Emily, and 3 years ago, I thought I'd found my forever in Mark. We met at a coffee shop in downtown Seattle, the kind of place where the aroma of fresh brews mingles with the hum of laptops and quiet conversations. I was a graphic designer, buried in my sketchbook, when he spilled his latte on my table. Cliché, I know, but it felt like fate. He was charming, with that easy laugh and eyes that seemed to see right through to my soul. "I'm so sorry," he said, grabbing napkins, and before I knew it, we were talking for hours about everything from our favorite indie bands to dreams of traveling the world. He was a financial advisor, stable and ambitious, and I fell hard. Within a year, we were engaged, and our wedding was a fairy tale, white dress, ocean view, vows that promised eternity. Our first year of marriage was bliss. We bought a cozy house with a garden I'd always dreamed of tending, and we filled it with laughter and plans. Mark would surprise me with weekend getaways, and I'd cook his favorite meals after long days at work. We talked about kids, about building a family. I remember one night, lying in bed, his hand on my stomach as he whispered, "I can't wait to see you as a mom." It felt perfect, like we'd cracked the code to happiness. But cracks were forming, even then, though I didn't see them. Mark started working late more often, his phone buzzing with messages he'd quickly silence. "Just clients," he'd say, kissing my forehead. I trusted him. Why wouldn't I? Trust was the foundation we'd built everything on. As the months turned into our second year, the changes became harder to ignore. He'd come home smelling faintly of perfume that wasn't mine, and his stories about business dinners grew vague. I'd find receipts for lunches at places we never went together, and once, a hotel key card slipped out of his wallet. "Must be from that conference last month," he explained, but his eyes darted away. Doubt crept in like fog, slow and insidious. I started checking his phone when he showered. Not proud of it, but desperation makes you do things you never thought you would. Nothing concrete at first, just flirty texts from a number saved as work colleague. I confronted him once, tears streaming down my face. "Are you seeing someone?" He denied it vehemently, pulling me into a hug. "You're being paranoid, Em. I love you." And I believed him, or at least I wanted to. We went to couples therapy for a bit, and things seemed to improve. He was attentive again, bringing flowers, planning dates. But therapy was just a bandage on a wound that was festering deeper. Then came the day that shattered everything. It was a sunny Saturday, and Mark had said he was golfing with buddies. I decided to surprise him with lunch at the club, but he wasn't there. The receptionist checked, no reservation under his name. My heart pounded as I drove home, a knot in my stomach. When I pulled up, his car was in the driveway, but the house was quiet. I let myself in, calling his name, and that's when I heard it, giggling from upstairs. My feet felt like lead as I climbed the stairs, each step echoing my growing dread. The bedroom door was ajar, and there they were, Mark and her, tangled in our sheets, the ones I'd picked out for our anniversary. She was young, maybe mid-20s, with long blonde hair and a laugh that cut through me like glass. Time froze. Mark's face went white as a sheet. "Emily, wait," but I couldn't. I ran out, the world blurring through my tears. How could he? In our home? That was the first real cliffhanger of my life. The moment I realized my marriage was a lie, but what came next? Would I confront them, or walk away forever? I didn't go back that night. I crashed at my best friend Sarah's place, sobbing until my eyes were swollen shut. Sarah held me, letting me vent about every red flag I'd ignored. "You deserve better," she said, but better felt impossible. The next day, Mark blew up my phone with apologies, promises to end it, begging for another chance. Foolishly, I met him at a park, away from the house that now felt tainted. He cried, said it was a mistake, that she meant nothing. It was just physical, he claimed. I love you, Emily. Let's fix this. Part of me wanted to believe him, the part that remembered our vows, our dreams. We agreed to try, with more therapy, more transparency. He gave me access to his phone, his emails. For a few weeks, it worked. But trust, once broken, is like shattered glass. You can glue it back, but the cracks always show. Life limped on, but I was a shadow of myself. Work suffered. I'd stare at my designs, unable to focus. Friends noticed, but I plastered on a smile. Then, about 2 months after the discovery, the bombshell dropped. I was at the grocery store when my phone rang, an unknown number. Is this Emily? A woman's voice asked, hesitant. Yes, I replied, my heart racing for no reason. I'm Lisa. I'm the one your husband was with. I'm pregnant. The world tilted. Pregnant? With Mark's child? I dropped the phone, the eggs in my cart cracking on the floor as I sank to my knees. Shoppers stared, but I didn't care. How could this be happening? Mark had sworn it was over, but now this? I confronted him that night, screaming, throwing things. He admitted it. Yes, it was his. I didn't know until recently, he lied, but his eyes told the truth. We'd been trying for a baby ourselves, and now this stranger was carrying what should have been mine. The pain was unbearable, a knife twisting in my gut. That was the second cliffhanger, the revelation that tore open old wounds and created new ones. Would I stay for the sake of some twisted family, or find the strength to leave? The days that followed were a blur of agony. I couldn't eat, couldn't sleep. Images of them together haunted me, and the thought of her pregnancy made me sick with jealousy and rage. Mark tried to spin it. We can make this work. I'll support the child, but stay with you. But how? How could I look at him without seeing betrayal? I sought solace in online forums, reading stories of other women who'd been cheated on. Some stayed, some left, but the ones who reclaimed their power inspired me. Slowly, anger replaced hurt. I started seeing a therapist alone, one who specialized in infidelity. You don't have to decide now, she said, but I knew I did. One evening, as I scrolled through our joint bank accounts, something I'd never paid much attention to before, I noticed unusual transfers. Small amounts to an account I didn't recognize. Digging deeper, I found emails confirming hotel bookings, gifts, even an apartment lease in Lisa's name. He'd been funding their life while pretending to fix ours. That was the spark. I wasn't just hurt, I was furious. He thought he could have it all. No more. I began planning in secret. First, I consulted a divorce lawyer, a shark named Rebecca who'd handled high-profile cases. We can freeze assets to prevent dissipation, she explained. But we need evidence. I gathered it all, texts, receipts, even hiring a private investigator who captured photos of Mark and Lisa together, her hand on her belly as they shopped for baby clothes. It broke me all over again, but it fueled me too. Meanwhile, Mark grew complacent, thinking I'd forgiven him. He even suggested we renew our vows. The audacity. But I played along, smiling through gritted teeth. Then came the day he crossed the ultimate line. I came home from work early, arms full of groceries for a dinner I planned to cook as part of my facade. The door was unlocked, and inside, there they were, Mark and Lisa, unpacking her suitcases in our living room. What's going on? I demanded, my voice shaking. Mark looked at me with pity, like I was the intruder. Emily, Lisa has nowhere to go. Her family disowned her because of the baby. She's moving in, just until it's born. Moving in? Into my home? With his pregnant mistress? The room spun. Lisa avoided my eyes, mumbling, I'm sorry, but the baby needs a stable place. Sorry. The betrayal hit like a tidal wave. I excused myself to the bathroom, locked the door, and called my lawyer. Do it now, I whispered. That was the third cliffhanger, the moment of no return. Would my plan work, or would I lose everything in the process? What happened next was a whirlwind of legal maneuvers and emotional battles. That very night, while they slept in the guest room, our guest room, I slipped out and met Rebecca at her office. We filed for divorce immediately, citing adultery and irreconcilable differences. By morning, a court order froze all joint accounts, his personal ones too, since I'd proven dissipation of marital assets. Mark woke to frantic calls from his bank, then pounded on my locked bedroom door. Emily, what the hell? I opened it calmly, papers in hand. We're done. Get out, both of you. Lisa cried, clutching her belly, but I felt no pity, only resolve. The police escorted them out when Mark refused to leave peacefully. The divorce wasn't easy. Mark fought dirty, hiring his own lawyer to claim I was unstable, that the freeze was vindictive. Court hearings dragged on, each one reopening wounds. I'd sit there, hearing him lie about how the affair just happened, how he still loved me. Lisa even testified, painting herself as the victim. But evidence doesn't lie. The judge ruled in my favor. I got the house, half the savings, what was left after his spending, and alimony until I rebuilt. Mark was left with debts and child support obligations that crippled him financially. Lisa? She moved back with her family, the baby born amid the chaos. I heard through mutual friends that their relationship crumbled under the stress. He blamed her. She blamed him. Rebuilding my life was the hardest part. The house felt empty, echoes of happier times mocking me. I threw myself into work, landing a promotion that took me to New York for a fresh start. I sold the house, used the proceeds to travel, those dreams Mark and I once shared, now mine alone. I hiked in Patagonia, sipped wine in Tuscany, found peace in solitude. Therapy helped me unpack the trauma, teaching me that betrayal says more about the betrayer than the betrayed. I dated again, cautiously, finding men who valued honesty. But most importantly, I found myself, stronger, wiser, unapologetically me. Looking back, that rainy evening wasn't just revenge, it was rebirth. If you're watching this and you've been through something similar, know this: you are not defined by someone else's choices. You have the power to freeze out the toxicity and thaw into something beautiful. Pain shapes us, but it doesn't break us unless we let it. Rise up, reclaim your story. If this story resonated with you, hit that like button and subscribe for more tales of triumph over heartbreak. Thanks for watching. Now, to expand this into a longer narrative suitable for a 100-minute video, I'll continue with more detailed scenes, dialogues, and subplots to fill the time. Imagine this being narrated slowly with pauses for emphasis, music cues, and perhaps stock footage or reenactments. After the confrontation, the nights were the worst. I'd lie awake, replaying every moment of our marriage, questioning if any of it was real. Sarah came over often, bringing wine and ice cream, listening as I vented. "He's a fool," she'd say, "but you're a warrior." Her words helped, but the loneliness was crushing. I joined a support group for betrayed spouses, where I met women, and a few men, with stories eerily similar to mine. One, Carla, had frozen her ex's accounts too, and her advice was gold: document everything. Emotions fade, but proof endures. We became friends, swapping war stories over coffee. Meanwhile, Mark didn't go quietly. He showed up at my work, flowers in hand, begging, "Please, Em, think about what you're doing." Security had to remove him. Then came the emails, long, rambling apologies mixed with accusations. "You're destroying our family." Our family. He meant the one he built behind my back. I blocked him, but not before saving everything for court. Lisa reached out once, via a mutual acquaintance, asking if we could talk woman to woman. I declined. What was there to say? She knew he was married. The private investigator's reports painted a fuller picture. Mark and Lisa had met at his office. She was a client. Their affair started 6 months into our marriage. 6 months. While I was planning our first anniversary surprise, he was sneaking around. The PI even found evidence of other flings. Mark wasn't just unfaithful. He was a serial cheater. That knowledge hardened my resolve, but also broke my heart anew. How had I been so blind? Court day arrived, a sterile room filled with tension. My lawyer Rebecca was a force, presenting timelines, bank statements, photos. Mark's lawyer tried to poke holes. "My client regrets his actions," but Mrs. Thompson's response was extreme. The judge, a no-nonsense woman, wasn't buying it. Adultery and financial deceit warrant protection of assets, she ruled. When the gavel fell, granting the freeze permanent until division, I exhaled a breath I didn't know I'd been holding. Mark glared at me across the room, Lisa by his side, her pregnancy now very visible. But I walked out with my head high. Post-divorce, freedom tasted sweet but unfamiliar. I redecorated the house first. New paint, new furniture, erasing his presence. Then, I pursued passions I'd sidelined: painting classes, yoga retreats. At one retreat, I met Alex, a kind-hearted instructor with no baggage. We started as friends, sharing stories under starry skies. "You've been through hell," he said one night. "But look at you, shining." It wasn't love yet, but it was hope. Mark's life unraveled publicly. Mutual friends distanced themselves. His job suffered from the scandal. Last I heard, he was in a small apartment, working odd jobs to pay child support. Lisa had the baby, a boy, and they co-parented awkwardly. No fairy tale for them. As for me, New York became my canvas. My design firm thrived, and I launched a side blog about empowerment after Betrayal. It went viral, connecting me with thousands. Messages poured in. "Your story saved me." That's the real revenge, not destroying him, but building me. Years later, I ran into Mark at a coffee shop. Ironic, right? He looked older, defeated. "Emily," he said softly. "I'm sorry." I nodded. "I forgive you, for my sake, not yours." And I walked away free. This journey taught me resilience. Betrayal hurts, but it reveals your strength. To anyone hurting, hold on. Your ultimate revenge is living well. Continuing to extend for length. Let's dive into more backstory and subplots. Before Mark, my life was steady but unremarkable. Grew up in a small town. Parents divorced when I was 10. Irony there, huh? Dad cheated. Mom never recovered fully. I vowed I'd never be her, always vigilant. But love blinds you. In college, I studied art, dreamed of big cities. Moved to Seattle post-grad, built a career from scratch. Friends like Sarah were my rock. We'd known each other since freshman year, bonding over bad dates and late-night study sessions. Our wedding day, rain threatened, but cleared just in time. Vows exchanged under a floral arch, guests cheering. Honeymoon in Hawaii, lazy beach days, and passionate nights. Back home, we nested. I planted roses in the garden. He set up a home office. Weekends at farmers markets, cooking experiments that often ended in laughter and takeout. But subtle shifts. His work trips increased. "The firm's expanding," he'd say. I'd pack his bags, kiss him goodbye. Alone, I'd binge shows, ignoring the gnawing unease. One trip, he forgot his charger. I found lipstick on his collar when unpacking. "From hugging a client," he explained. I laughed it off, but doubt seated. The affair discovery day in detail. Heart racing upstairs, door creaking open. Sheets rumpled, them scrambling for clothes. Lisa's gasp, Mark's stammer. I didn't scream then, just turned and left, driving aimlessly until Sarah's. Therapy sessions, Dr. Ellis probing. "How does that make you feel?" Raw, exposed. Mark attended a few, but his answers were rehearsed. Pregnancy call. In aisle 7, milk cartons blurring. "It's his," Lisa said. "I thought you should know." Click. I hyperventilated in the parking lot. Planning phase. Late nights researching laws, consulting Rebecca. "We can seek fault-based divorce," she said. "PI fees drained savings, but worth it." The move-in day, suitcases stacked, Lisa unpacking baby onesies. My fake calm. Interesting choice. Then, the call to action. Legal battles, multiple hearings. One where Mark's lawyer accused me of entrapment. Rebecca countered with emails showing his deceit. Emotional lows. Holidays alone, seeing couples happy. But highs. First solo trip to Paris, sketching Eiffel Tower at dawn. New life in New York. Bustling streets, new friends. Alex's yoga class. Breathe through the pain. Dates evolved to relationship. Healthy, honest. Blog success. Posts on signs of cheating, rebuilding after betrayal. Guest on podcasts, book deal in works. Final reflection. That title moment wasn't vengeance. It was justice. You deserve a life free of lies. Embrace your power. And that's my story. If it moved you, like and subscribe for more. See you next time.